Hello students, this is Professor Sexton with a video lecture about your first paper assignment. This has already been uploaded into the paper 1 tab on Blackboard, but let me just share the document with you. So give it a moment. So here we are. For your paper 1 assignment, you're writing a comparison contrast paper. And what you're doing is you're going to choose any two of three poems. So either Robert Browning's My Last Duchess, Charles Bukowski's The Japanese Wife, or E. E. Stalin's Hades Welcomes His Bride. Now keep in mind, you're only choosing two of these poems to compare or contrast. In a comparison or contrast literary paper, your goal is to analyze how two literary works treat the same themes. So once you've selected the two poems that you compare in or contrast, you need to determine what you consider to be a common theme in both works. Keep in mind, a theme is the underlying ideal or statement that is revealed in the work and is different than the topic or subject. Like for instance, you can say that all three of these poems are about husbands and wives, but that's a subject, that is not a theme. In order to be a theme, it has to say something about those relationships. So you could argue that perhaps in Robert Browning's My Last Duchess and Charles Bukowski, The Japanese Wife, the husband has a misguided view of his wife and the expectations of what marriage is going to be like. That then becomes a theme because you're going to analyze how both of these poems do that. So once you've chosen the two poems that you want to compare and contrast, you need to look as a common theme for them. Then what you'll want to do is you'll want to list common points that both of them use. I want to use Robert Hayden's Those Winter Sundays and Theodore Recky's My Papa's Waltz as an example, since those are poems that we've already talked about. So a common topic or subject in both Hayden and Recky's poem are father-son's relationships. However, that is a topic. A common theme could be how these two poems reveal the complexities of father-son's relationships and how they may vary according to circumstances. So then that becomes your theme. And then what you'll want to do is you'll want to determine three similar points that both poems discuss. So if you were doing Those Winter Sundays in My Papa's Waltz, you could look at the description of the fathers, the son's views of the fathers, and the overall tone of the poem. All three of these points are present in both poems. But then what you'll do is you'll look at the description of the father in Those Winter Sundays, and you'll look at the description of the father in My Papa's Waltz. Likewise, you can do this for the two poems that you choose about husband and wives. You can look at the description of the wife in My Last Duchess, and you can look at the description of the wife in Japanese Wife, or the description of the wife in Hades Welcomes His Bride, and analyze how those descriptions of the wife relate to the viewpoint that you're making about the two poems. Keep in mind, any of the points that you discuss have to be related to your thesis statement and what you're trying to prove. If you look on the second page of this document, what I do is I give you the structure for a comparison contrast paper. There are two ways to structure a comparison contrast paper. You can do either subject by subject, or you can do point by point. If you do subject by subject, you say everything about the first poem, then you shift and you say everything about the second poem. So you do Those Winter Sundays, description of the father, son's view of father, tone of the poem, shift to My Papa's Waltz, then description of the father, son's view of the father, tone of the poem. If you do point by point, instead of organizing your essay by the different poems, you're organizing your essay by the points that you're discussing. So if you're going to do description of the father, you talk about the description of the father in Those Winter Sundays and the description of the father in My Papa's Waltz. Then you shift, you talk about the son's view of the father, you do Those Winter Sundays and My Papa's Waltz. Either of these methods are okay. So I don't have, you can do the subject by subject or the point by point. All that I ask that you do is that you be consistent. So once you've adopted an organization pattern, make sure you follow that one all the way through. Your paper must be typed in double space. The suggested page length for your paper is 3 to 5 pages. Pay attention to here. This is suggested. There's not a required page length for the papers in this class. I would prefer for you to make sure that you are covering everything that you need to cover in the paper and not force a page limit on you. So you might be able to do everything that you need to do in this paper in 2.5 pages. That's great. Or it might take 4. That's also great. But I want to make sure that you give as much detail as you possibly can. Go back and look over the writing literary analysis paper because that explains to you how to write introductions, body paragraphs, and conclusion. Use that information to structure your paper. Keep in mind for the papers in this class, outlines and drafts are not required. They are optional. However, if you want to submit an outline or draft to me, you have until Saturday, September 24th to do so. With outlines in or drafts, you need to email them to me. Email them to me either as a Microsoft Word or a Pages document to my email address, which is dsexton@qcc.cuny.edu. That way, I can use the comment feature of either Microsoft Word or Pages and put comments in your text and respond back to you that way. The due date for this paper is by 11:59 p.m. on Saturday, October 1st. So there's a considerable amount of time to work on this paper. I think one of the most important things for you to do for any paper that you do is to begin thinking about what you're going to do. Choose the 2 poems that you want to work with. Choose what you see as a common theme, choose the points, and just think about it. You have plenty of time to think about it. And then once you start to think about it, then begin to shape and create your paper and start to draft it. Keep in mind, if you want to send me outlines, if you want to send me drafts, you are more than welcome to do that. And you can continue to send them up until September 24th. So what I mean by that, if you have an outline that you send to me this Wednesday, let's say that I read the outline by Wednesday. That's early, but let's say that you do that. I'll read the outline on Wednesday, send it back to you on Thursday. You can send me another outline on Saturday or a draft on Sunday. I'll read that one, send it back to you. You can send me yet another one, and we can continue to do this up until September 24th, just to make sure that you give me enough time to read the draft and comment on it thoroughly and insightfully, and you have enough time to read my comments and to incorporate them into your draft. If there's anything about the paper assignment that is unclear, if you need further information about the paper assignment, please email me. Okay, I hope everyone is doing well. Bye.